I think I'm a special one.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
All right, we're back. This is episode 37. What's up, Chad?
What's going on, man?
On the Half Turn podcast. It's been like, a month probably since we did the one with Dimitri. Really good feedback on that one, by the way. Like, I think people would just want just good soccer stories, right? Like, They don't care kind of where the person played or where the their background. It's just that's an interesting story. Got a lot of really good feedback. That was cool. It's a good discussion too.
Unique story because people probably look up other real professionals' story and being a different type of professional he was, the lower divisions.
Yeah,
it's definitely different.
I mean, okay, it's interesting to hear how an MLS player grew up playing or player in Europe, but this is somebody different and similar to how we talk about our stories too, which I think is pretty cool. So that was a good change of pace, and I think we should do more of that in the future as well. But it's episode 37. What are you wearing, Chad?
So fresh kit, probably one of the freshest I got. It's a purple Aston Villa Coutinho jersey from this year.
Kappa brand.
Yeah, Kappa brand. It's fake though. Copped off DHG.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, but
every time I've seen you wear that, you get compliments or just it's a conversation starter.
Yeah, so it was pretty sick. He scored against Liverpool. No, he scored against City to help Liverpool, but City ended up come back and winning that game. When he scored, I ran upstairs and grabbed my jersey because I thought it was sick. And I hit him a nice play there to hit him to score that game too.
Nice. So I'm wearing a Perth Glory FC jersey, purple. They play in the Australian A-League. Somebody gave this to me, and I don't know why it's this jersey. I'm sure it was just at a soccer store or something. But I can't imagine there's too many Perth Glory FC fans. I don't know anything about this club. I just kind of have the jersey. I don't really know.
The A-League championship was last week, I think.
Did this Perth Glory win?
No, it wasn't. Perth Glory wasn't in it.
Oh man, I'm devastated. It's probably Sydney FC or whatever those teams are.
I forget.
I don't know. Yeah. So what's the agenda today? What are we talking about?
So we're just gonna review tactically a little bit of the Champions League game. Obviously Real Madrid and Liverpool. Maybe talk a little bit about transfers in the US games coming up in the roster.
Okay. Just kind of recap the end of this season, really, in the European season.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's get into it. Start it off. Oh no, our scars are falling. Let me put this back up. Talk about the Champions League game.
So obviously Real Madrid wins their 14th Champions League title, beating Liverpool 1-0. I think everybody going into the game, weeks, were Liverpool's the better team. Liverpool's going to win. And I feel as the day approached to the game, everyone was Real Madrid's going to win. I think most people were on Real Madrid at that point.
Liverpool peaked too early to me. All right, that run that they had, I guess when they got all their players back from African Cup of Nations, it was they're unbeaten in all of 2022 for a while or something like that, where they won the Carabao Cup. They were really gaining ground on City in the Premier League. They obviously won the FA Cup in penalties, but the run through that, obviously facing some harder teams in the Champions League, everyone was wow, this Liverpool team can't be stopped. If City wasn't so good, they would have a chance at the quadruple. But I think after early April, they really kind of slowed down. I think after that game against City in the Premier League, to be honest, because Salah wasn't on form. Yeah, the 2-2 draw. So I think people thought of Liverpool as that juggernaut machine, when really towards the end of the season they were okay.
But it is kind of crazy that for a good part of the Premier League season, looked like City were just running away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Liverpool all of a sudden were playing amazing. I thought in the beginning of the season, like players like Thiago were like not playing very well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a coincidence that as soon as like Thiago starts balling out, like Liverpool just and then they got Diaz, like
and Konate came in and like was also like a rock at the back, especially in Champions League.
Yeah, we heard a wild stat during the game that I guess the Champions League final is the first game he's ever lost with Liverpool
in like 26 or 27 games, something like that.
So it's a wild stat.
Mm-hmm. And then you add Diaz to that. Firmino slowly fades out. Like Jota, like they had like a cycle of players that like looked good, and then like as the season went, I think could just be like exhaustion. So many games, so many like big games. So I think they just kind of ran out of steam. While like Real Madrid, like they gained their steam as like, oh, they beat PSG. Like first of all, they got the whatever it was 1-0. They lost 1-0 at PSG first leg. I think Mbappe scored. But then like that was like enough of a result where they could like still go back to Madrid and get a good enough result. And I think they like kept gaining momentum. And then like at the same time, they were good enough in La Liga to like create that gap. And La Liga wasn't really that competitive this year. So like they were kind of peaking at the right time, prioritizing Champions League, while Liverpool like had to juggle everything really.
Yeah, I don't know why all the pundits, like I watch ESPN FC way too much.
Yeah, that's not even like good content.
I don't know why I watch them that much, but the whole time they're just like, all right, Real Madrid's got no chance. Real Madrid's got no chance to win the Champions League. Like it's Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And they have some of the best players in the world. Like obviously they have a chance.
Which is weird because I think this Liverpool team is stronger than most of the teams that would they win. They went to 3 straight finals. They won 3 straight finals, right?
Who?
Real Madrid.
Yes.
Before. I forget the opponents. I think it was Atletico. You'd have to look it up.
Juventus won, and then they beat Liverpool once.
They did not beat Liverpool in the Champions League final.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, Karius. Well, either way, this Liverpool team was better than any of the teams that they beat in that run, I think. But I also think this Real Madrid team was weaker than those Real Madrid teams. But like, it's just not linear. Like, it's not like apples for apples, I guess you'd say. Because like Benzema at times was like unbelievable. And obviously, I've been on this podcast before saying Vinicius was on the same. I literally told this podcast he's on the same level as Mo Salah. And people laughed at me. You laughed at me. People on Instagram laughed at me. And look who scored the game winner in the Champions League final. Look who helped carry that team to the Champions League. And to be honest, they didn't get the best out of Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro. Like,
what do you mean?
I don't think they were like overpoweringly good. They were good in the run up to the game, but like in that single game,
the final.
In the final, they weren't.
I thought they were really good.
I'm not saying they weren't really good. I'm just saying they weren't like we picked a Liverpool Real Madrid combined 11.
Yeah.
And we both had Fabinho. We both had Thiago.
Yeah.
And then you probably throw Modric in there, depending on, who has the legs or whatever. Yeah. But like Vinicius, like the threat of whatever he does is so dangerous, dude. Like even when he's not on.
People were hyping up the Trent Alexander-Arnold versus Vinicius 1v1 battle too much.
Like, I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold lost his man. That's how Vinicius got in. That's still a tough ball to defend. You can't just blame Trent because a million things happened on that play. But
but I thought Trent did good for the most part. He's actually a very underrated defender, in my opinion. Like, he's actually he's just slow. Like, he's not like a super fast player. Like, recovery speed's like not really there.
I think this is kind of going off the game. This is more of a philosophical thing. But the Liverpool that we know is going to slowly transform into like the smash mouth, like kind of run and gun Liverpool that we know, where like you got Salah and Mane drifting off the wings and behind, and Trent and Robertson are whipping in balls. I feel like that's slowly kind of fading. And I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in, I was telling you, I think they need to bring in another right back, not to challenge Trent for the starting spot, but they need to give that guy some games. Kind of like, how do you say, Tismikas? The back, I love it. However you say, I don't know. Dimitri would know. Right, he's Greek, right? Yeah, Dimitri, no. Just how he got a lot of games when Robertson was out, and then like you could kind of shuffle them in between. Like Trent just probably plays too many games. I would honestly love to see him play as like a center mid, attacker. Too.
Maybe if you get like a better more defensive minded right back, you can play in some games. Like and dude, they might even go for Lewandowski. Like change up the system a little bit.
Yeah.
Cop Lewandowski, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Mane.
That team would still be like up there.
Apparently,
You're
Mane. Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I've been trying to talk about Mane.
Yeah, guys.
Mane for like 30 million or 35 million to Bayern. So that's what I'm saying. Like the system's gonna have to change. Like Diaz is a nice fit with them, but he's not Mane. Mane and Salah are similar in the fact that like the positions they like to pick up the ball and like they're almost always dangerous. Diaz is different, and then like Jota and Firmino, like they need something fresh in there, and it's not going to be another version. There's no Mane regen coming through. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody somewhere. You have to like look at the profile of players, but maybe
in Liverpool they have good recruitment on the type of players that they like. So
I've been thinking about this a lot. I was telling you a couple weeks ago, like the more I kind of learn about the ecosystems of soccer and like in Europe, it really is like, okay, Klopp is an amazing manager, grown some youth, everyone's developing there. But really what it is like when a team has like a 5 or 6 year run, even if they have a lot of money or don't, like they typically nail their recruitment and their transfers, like very few flops. Like they spend big money on Van Dijk and he's a hit. He's not a flop and he's not even like a so-so, like it's a hit. You spend some money on like a Mane or Salah, you bring these guys in and they're a hit. Like even Man City, like, okay, like spend a lot of money on Ake, but like, or a type of player like Ake, but like they're not bringing him in to be like a guy. But like the other guys they bring in, their hits. Like a Mahrez is a hit, a Sterling was a hit, a Gundogan ends up being a hit. Like there's like when you can just like nail these things, even if they're low key signings, you see it in MLS too, like the Union, like a lot of their signings, like they bring in and it's a hit right away, like a Brujo Martinez or like a Jacob Glesnes.
It's definitely more strategic than like the FIFA, like I'll get this guy like I would get him in FIFA. Like
yeah, and it's really like they're good at like identifying a certain type of player that they want, which it's impressive. And like look at teams like, okay, the championship playoff was yesterday, Nottingham Forest, they get promoted. Like I bet if you went back through, you would see like a 2 to 3 year build of just like quality signings by Nottingham Forest to fit a certain profile. And like maybe it's a hit and you sell a guy and you use that money to reinvest. Like there's very few like just splashes of money that don't work out. Like you really got to nail these things to work up the ladder. That's how competitive like it is in that ecosystem there.
Yeah, probably.
Which is also another reason why it's kind of way different than the original topic. But when we talk about promotion relegation in the US and like how MLS is like the single entity league and whatever, if we had that full ecosystem, you would see the importance placed on scouting and recruitment and like buying and selling of players, because if you don't get those hits, you're quickly either out of the playoff race or out of MLS into the second tier. But like there's no, in MLS, like you could be a FC Cincinnati and miss for 3 straight years and you're just at the bottom of the league. Like, yeah, you don't sell tickets and whatever, but there's no like real consequences. But now like there are real consequences if you got to stay up or you got to stay in Europe or you got to stay in the Champions League.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah.
But can I just say, I think it's kind of funny that Liverpool still had a parade. I don't know if they do that in England.
They won the FA Cup on pens, man. You got to celebrate.
I mean, like they were close to winning like the 2 biggest things that they were going for. But
yeah. Well, I think that I don't know if they had one after the Carabao Cup, but it was probably for the FA Cup, right? But like they played the Carabao Cup. I think they won on penalties, right? FA Cup they won on penalties. Then they played the Champions League. They didn't score a goal in any 3 final, and I think it really does show like when a team wants to like sit back and stay organized against Liverpool. Like Liverpool will get you if like in transition, if like you're trying to draw out a little bit. And if you're drawn out, like Liverpool will get you. But if you really can like sit in and be compact, like they're like not as like City will just go and go and go and they'll eventually break you down. Liverpool, I don't think really have that. But to be honest, like Courtois also had himself like a heck of a day. So like it's not like Liverpool played poorly or anything.
Courtois is class. You kind of forget too, because like we watch so much Premier League, not a lot of La Liga. You only really see him in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And like that save on Grealish in the semifinal.
I mean, City was so close to like the fact that I was kind of rooting for City to go through because apparently I'm a City fan. I just think Pep deserves a Champions League in Manchester City, but I don't know. It's weird. I find myself rooting against Liverpool, and I don't want to, like I don't like mind most of their players. Like I like them. I like Jurgen Klopp. I think they've built like a good program. I just find myself rooting against them. I don't know. Which I also think a lot of people find themselves rooting against Liverpool. Maybe because of the VAR thing.
Yeah, Liverpool.
Yeah, and Jurgen Klopp does kind of complain about everything too. He complains about the schedule. He complains about
He does.
Just kind of complaining. Anything else like about the game? Like what else? To be honest,
Not
like
really.
I watched it.
I got some
live.
tactical notes, but they're just like
I didn't
all over the place. Like
I'll rewatch it eventually, but like it wasn't something where we've been on here in the past rewatching games, like the US games we rewatch. It's not a very like it was kind of a boring game to be honest.
You think Benzema's goal should have counted?
Yeah. So the only thing I was mad at was I thought he was offsides on the initial ball in,
and we didn't see it.
And they just didn't show us the replay. Thanks, CBS. And then I think he probably should have counted because Fabinho was clearly trying to come in for the ball, hit it with his knee, but he was trying to make a play on the ball anyway. So yeah, probably should have counted.
But the rule was that he was behind. Dude, I don't even know how to say this. Like there was a guy on the goal line, and then there's a guy still behind the other goalie, Aaronson.
Yeah. And
Benzema's like leg was in between the guy on the goal line and the other defender, so it's technically offside.
Yeah, that's offsides. But the point is, did Fabinho try to play that back? And like he makes a play on the ball and it hits his knee.
Yeah.
So it's like, was it an accidental touch or not? Like, but I think it probably should have counted. But like, I wasn't gonna like go complain about it not counting. Like I'm okay, like not counting crap goals like that. No crap goals, only good ones.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Just a few random tactical notes I got here. Like, I don't know I think it was you who sent me something like earlier in the Champions League, like Real Madrid, like in possession, they leave players out of the midfield. Remember that?
Yeah.
They did that like because like Cruz usually plays on the left, but like deeper left.
Mm-hmm.
And then Modric likes to stay like towards the right side.
Yeah.
I think like the emphasis there was to like overload on the wings.
Mm-hmm.
And even like Benzema goes wherever the heck he wants. When I was like actually taking notes was like the first 5 minutes of the game. So like Benzema was like on the left touch line, about 5 yards away from Vinicius Jr. So I thought that's how the game was going to go, where Benzema was just basically on the left and they were just going to abuse Trent.
Yeah, well, that's Benzema trying to like flick things on and whatever. Because like Benzema, I didn't think really did much other than like a few decent hold up plays and whatever, and obviously the disallowed goal. But yeah, there's like a couple screen grabs of like Real Madrid. A few other teams will do it. They'll just like expand the field and there's like nobody in the middle.
And the reason why Real Madrid can play in these games and play against some of the best teams like possession wise and relieve pressure is because of players like Valverde, Benzema, Modric. Dude, they're so good at just like dribbling out of pressure.
Yeah. Like
making the right pass to get out of pressure. Like even on the goal, I don't know if you remember, Modric gets the ball like on the right side.
Dribbles,
and dribbles, does a few turns, literally pulls Robertson like 10, 15 yards away from like where he should be.
Plays it forward.
And then plays it forward. And then,
Yeah. And I forget like who he drawn out, but I just remember looking at that. Like, why isn't he like turning and switching the ball to the left? Because it just came from the right, but he played that forward pass and it kind of unlocked.
Do you think players think like that? Like, they're like, yeah, I know Robertson's on my back. Like I'm gonna take him out of position. You think
because of like
you think the
player
players
is?
Are that good? You think the players are that good where they think that?
I don't know, man. Like obviously I was never that good to think like that. But
I was asking you, bro.
I appreciate it.
You play for the Fury.
Check my stats. I do think that's part of what I think is like high level coaching is that a player like, okay, a team that likes to play in transition, like they're looking for that pass, like first look forward, first step forward, first pass forward. So when you drill that into players, like then it becomes kind of second nature. I don't think there's really players that like are smart enough to really decide in the moment, like, let me draw Robertson out with this dribble and then I'll play it because it happens so quickly, unless it's like a predetermined thing or tactical note. Yeah. But like when you train in the fact, like if you're a possession-based team, like let's say prime Barcelona, like Busquets wins the ball and he can play it sideways and backwards and then go support again and get the ball again. Like that's a trained thing that they're just over and over again. So it's more of like a system thing rather than like the players thinking on their own all the time.
Gotcha.
That's why like I think too, like when you play at a higher level, like even if it's like you play in high school, college, like whatever leagues after that, if you're not like an organized team or you don't have like a sense of like a style of play, the game is really hard because like, especially like if you don't have an organized press at a certain level, like teams can really play through you. There's a point where the teams can play through. If you don't have a certain style in possession, it's just like players kind of doing weird things with the ball.
Yeah,
That's
like where are we going with the ball? Is it just one big possession game?
Yeah, exactly. And like that's obviously these are pro coaches, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, but to a like an even higher level, that's like what they're looking for. What else? Yeah,
Dude, I'm telling you, like just when I was writing notes, maybe the first half,
mm-hmm.
and it slowed down in the second half. But dude, there was a stretch where Liverpool probably could have scored like 2 goals. Like remember, like Mane had the one off the post.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
that was the one that Courtois like pushed to the post. Yeah, it almost hit off of Courtois' back too. I'm surprised it didn't.
Yeah, there was like a 10-minute span where they probably had like 4 or 5 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, and they were. It wasn't like okay, Courtois had a great game, and like Liverpool, like if you look at the stats, had like way more chances, way more shots, but it didn't seem like wow, Liverpool's going to win this game. They had the one. It was like a long ball, and someone headed it back across, and then Salah kind of like tried to flick it. Do you remember what I'm talking about? It was like Salah at the back post. I think second half.
I think so.
He should have just like smashed it, put his foot through it. But yeah, I wasn't like overly impressed with Liverpool, really. I mean, 2 of those chances go in, Courtois is having like a below average day, then the game's like 2-0. And then we're talking something different. But
yeah.
I mean, like if there's something interesting after rewatching the game, like maybe we'll post it, but I don't assume there's much.
Danny Ceballos had that breakaway at the end.
Danny Ceballos. Yeah, he just somehow Danny Ceballos finds himself in, who I always really liked when he was at Arsenal. I don't know why they let him go. Should have extended the loan or bought him or something. What do you think Real Madrid does this offseason?
Offseason, man. We were talking about this. I mean, their midfield is getting old.
Yeah.
But Modric in like an interview or something said he'll play till he's 50.
Croatian second league. Camavinga, I would think, needs to step in and play more games.
So they're probably going to start like not replacing, but like get more depth in the midfield because there's some old legs in there.
Yeah.
Tuchemani.
Yeah, apparently Tuchemani is like a done deal.
Yeah. I mean, like a future midfield of Tuchemani, Camavinga, and Valverde.
Yeah,
it's pretty solid.
Yeah, Valverde plays on the right wing, but to me, he seems more of like a workhorse center midfielder.
He definitely is. He's really good at just like driving forward with the ball, which is why you can see why he plays.
Yeah. Now, like Liverpool, Real Madrid, like I'm sure the plan was to get Mbappe and figure out that front three of Vinicius, Mbappe, and Benzema. So Mbappe chooses to stay at PSG, but they could still go after a right wing if they really wanted. Like that's a fun move to make. Like, oh, splash on a right wing, but got to be careful because like you miss one, like you miss on a big money right wing. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about how they're linked to a winger or anything.
Yeah, I heard somebody say something about Mo Salah. It's like, dude, they're not going to buy Mo Salah. And Mo Salah's not leaving Liverpool. It's just like, yeah, I heard Liverpool would want Son if Spurs didn't make top 4, but I can't see Son leaving now. He's playing such good football at the moment.
Yeah.
Like playing in Europe next year. So,
I mean, who wouldn't want to play for one of the best coaches ever in Carlo Ancelotti?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Son playing for Conte.
No.
Conte's got Spurs playing some good football. Ancelotti's just like an old school, like he's the European Bruce Arena.
He said after the game, like, he hopes he made like Everton fans happy.
Like hopefully Everton like was rooting for Real Madrid.
Well, they probably were. Yeah, but he said like I hope I made the Everton
fans
like
his time there.
No, because he beat Liverpool.
Oh, I guess I didn't put that. See, I'm not an Everton fan, so I don't really care about the rivalry between Liverpool. Right. Anything else on this game? You want to move
on? Yeah, we can move on.
What else you got on the agenda?
So, trying to think of any big transfers that happened recently. Obviously, the Brendan Aaronson won the Leeds.
That's big. Was it $30 million or pounds?
It's about $30 million. I saw Transfer Market on Instagram said $30 million.
Okay. You got to trust transfer market.
Seems like a reliable source.
So 30 million is a lot. He goes from RB Salzburg to Leeds after Jesse Marsh heroically keeps him up. Which before we get into Aaronson, Chad was trying to argue with me that Jesse Marsh struggled at Leeds, which is total BS because I saw a stat like his points per game. If you like prorate that out through the whole season, he would have finished 12th in the Premier League, which is not struggling for Leeds.
All right,
So he did not
think a team it gets that consistent, like goes that consistent throughout the whole season?
No, I mean,
Like,
part of it was Jesse Marsh.
Finished 12th with Leeds, bro. He was almost like a game away from being relegated.
Okay, but like, yeah, part of it was Jesse Marsh had to like instill the belief and like the fight to stay up, which is probably why they stayed up. But I'm sure he would have done some things differently, would have implemented a system, would have not like ran his players into the ground so they're all hurt.
Leeds are. I don't like how they went from Bielsa to Jesse Marsh. Like, I like Jesse Marsh because he's American, but like, dude, they press and they get played through every time they press. Like,
because they probably didn't have like
their press is awful, and they just run and get their legs tired.
Part of the point of a press is to force the team into a spot that they don't want to go.
Yeah, but dude, against a good team or like a team that knows what's coming at them, like I'd say like probably like the top 8 or 9 teams would destroy Leeds, like just playing straight through them.
But I think Jesse Marsh probably knows that, and he knew like where he could get points from and which games, which type of team, that kind of stuff. And look, they're going to they're probably going to sell Rafinha to like Barcelona, and they're going to replace him with Brandon Aaronson, who is like really good at pressing. Like all of the pressing stats in Europe show like how much ground he covers and how good he is at it.
Let me say this about Aaronson. I think it's kind of crazy that they spent 30 million after barely staying like safe.
Yeah. Well, I think they probably had money.
They splashed it like super quick. I mean, the expectations on Aaronson might be pretty high, but he's not like I don't even know if he's a $30 million player. Like maybe eventually, like because he's still young.
Yeah. But they were going to do this deal in the winter too, so they probably had this money saved up. Maybe they didn't. I don't think they really spent much money in they bought in the left back Firpo, I think, in the summer, and I think that was the only like, big money signing. Unless Bamford was there last year too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they had money to spend, and they were going to spend it on Aaronson in the winter, but Salzburg wanted Aaronson for the Champions League, which they had a shot at Bayern Munich, but they lost. But so they had this money to spend, so they just did the deal as soon as they stayed up. I think
this I'm saying about Leeds, and super excited to watch them next season because of Jesse Marsh and
Aronson.
Yeah,
an Aaronson jersey, an Aaronson Leeds jersey going to be kind of tough.
Yeah.
But he's so like super good at like pressing and like very similar to like Jim Curtin and Jesse Marsh are boys. Aaronson, played for Marsh at Salzburg. Marsh went to Leipzig, but like, obviously Aaronson stayed at Salzburg. It's like similar system. And like Aaronson at his best for the Union was like, we would press, we'd win the ball. And like Aaronson's there as like a release. And like, he just kind of pops into the gaps and turns and starts the attack. So like, I can see that happening. I don't know like who they're going to keep.
Weird thing to say, but I think Aaronson's just got a good head on his shoulders. Like
that is a weird thing to say.
Like he's just a smart guy.
He's a smart player. He runs all the time. Like
he never like really gets down on himself. Never gets too high either. Yeah. It's just kind of like goes out there and plays.
He's just like a baller. Yeah.
Whether he's playing good or playing bad.
Yeah. And like this is also another weird thing to say is like he is like a small guy. Like he's not very big. Like he's short. He covers ground. He's quick. He has endurance, but like we'll be like I sound like an old school guy. The physicality of the Premier League, like it's not like something to joke about. Like imagine like Aaronson going up against like a Rudiger or something.
Oh, Rudiger's going to Real Madrid.
Yeah, on like a free transfer too. It would be insane.
Yeah.
Rudiger, Militao, David Alaba.
Dude, any other transfers that have happened?
I can't think of them right now. Is like the prime like rumor time where like everybody has a rumor like that they're going everywhere. Like I saw one saying like PSG is making Neymar available for transfers. It's like, how am I supposed to believe that or like look into that?
So like just some random stuff to throw out there. Isco's a free agent.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
30 years old, worth $7 million.
Dude, how was he not better? How did he not have a better career? He had all the ability in the world.
Yeah. Man, you are interested in Conte?
Yeah, I saw that. That's stupid. That's not going to happen.
Zinchenko to Arsenal?
That's kind of cool. I think Zinchenko is pretty good. What about Arsenal? Who are they? They were in for somebody, right? Were they in for a forward? Who's a forward that they were in for?
Darwin Nunez? Were they in for him?
Nah, I heard Nunez might go to Man United, but they were trying to bring in a forward. Who was it, dude?
I don't know. I also heard Patrick Bamford to Arsenal.
Really?
I don't know.
Maybe he was in Cuckoo, maybe? I mean, like maybe Man United could get their hands on Cuckoo. Nobody else, because he's going to go for big money because he's ridiculously good.
Missouri, the right back from Ajax. Pretty sure it's confirmed he's going to Bayern.
Yeah, Bayern need a right back.
Need a right back bad, dude. They always play like a center back there.
Yeah, or at Kimmich, but like I guess Kimmich is steady midfield now. Any other transfers?
No, we can move on to some USMNT talk.
All right.
Let me pull up the roster here. Let me just go through and then we'll stop each position.
Yeah, sure. So this is for, what is it? 2 friendlies coming up next week.
I got you. It's 2 friendlies. One against Morocco in Cincinnati, and then one against Uruguay in, I want to say Kansas City, but I'm not sure.
Well, there's a bunch of Uruguayans in Kansas City.
And then 2 Nations League game right after that. The first one's against Grenada and the second one's against El Salvador.
So just looking at that, I would think you play the big guns against the better teams, right? Morocco and Uruguay, and you try to like give younger guys or like guys you want something more out of in the Nations League.
4-game window, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You think he's riding with the same group of players he called in, or you think he like?
I don't know, man. You got to tell us the roster. Read us the roster.
All right, man, relax. So the goalies are Ethan Horvath, just got promoted.
Horvath, who subbed in for like the final 5 minutes for Nottingham Forest yesterday.
Matt Turner and Zach Steffen got called up, but he went home, I think.
Yeah, and some family issues. So
Sean Johnson, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Speaking of that and goalies and transfer rumors, Gaga Salina like is rumored to every big club. Like I saw one that Real Madrid are interested in him. Like whoever Gaga Salina's agent is just an absolute mastermind, dude. He's like to every big club, and like he's been okay for the Fire this year, but like he let in like a couple soft goals.
So Turner's the starter.
Yeah.
Defenders.
By the way, I will keep saying this. Do not sleep on Sean Johnson, bro. Sean Johnson is good. I'm telling you. I don't know much about his distribution, whatever, but he's such like a good, like he's a solid keeper. And he's like he's a leader too. He's a leader of men.
Yeah. He's got the things you can't teach.
Yeah, he's got those intangibles,
man. Left back wise, we got Anthony Robinson.
Left back wise. Okay.
Anthony Robinson, George Bello. Joe Scally.
Okay. People love Scally.
Right back, Reggie Cannon. DeAndre Yedlin.
Okay. The vibes.
So where is Dest?
I think he might be kind of beat up. Might be injured, yeah.
Okay.
But like it's nothing to worry about. Like anytime like Dest is on the plane to the World Cup.
So center back wise, Cameron Carter Vickers, Aaron Long, Eric Palmer Brown, and Walker Zimmerman. Obviously, no Miles Robinson.
Yeah, Miles Robinson tore his Achilles.
And then still no John Brooks. They say it's because
it's like a locker. It's like they don't see eye to eye, him and Greg.
Yeah, but I heard the reason they're saying is because he's moving clubs.
That's just a made up reason every time. The one thing
he can't play for his national team because he's moving clubs.
He's moving clubs. The one thing I hate like about the John Brooks thing is like, can we just like relax on like anytime I hear a podcast, Twitter, like I don't know, whatever else I read about the national team is like John Brooks this, John Brooks that's like I like John Brooks, like he's good, but he's not like prime Sergio Ramos like that we're leaving out here. Like he's good, but
he's a left-footed center back, and he's been good. He's had some good games for and he played in the World Cup.
I got you. Yeah.
And scored.
Okay. So did Julian Green. You get a call, Julian Green. By the way, Julian Green scored against Courtois before.
Yeah. Wow. Wild stat there.
Scenes.
Yeah.
Center backs, like I gotta say, Walker Zimmerman in the few times I've watched Nashville this season has not looked as good as I thought, but like it's to be expected, I guess. Like you can't just like be like, oh, he got cooked on that goal. Like can't call him up, happens. Carter Vickers apparently was a beast for Celtic this year, so excited to see him.
Yeah.
I was telling you yesterday, I'm pretty sure Celtic fans nicknamed him the Fridge because he's so
Who do you
big.
think starts next to Zimmerman? You can't play Aaron Long next to Zimmerman, right? Aaron Long's like the backup. Zimmerman.
He's
Almost.
He's Zimmerman too. It's like the USL version of this. Zimmerman too. I kind of want to see Carter Vickers.
Probably Carter Vickers.
Yeah, we watched. So we went to the Union Red Bulls game a few weeks ago, and like Aaron Long was in the 18, but like had no chance of playing. Like he didn't even like warm up. Like he went in the locker room at halftime and didn't warm up with the subs. He didn't start. So like he was just kind of there, like chilling, I guess.
Maybe he got hurt
in
the day of the game or in warm-ups or something. Yeah,
but he's still warming up like a little bit, I guess. I don't know.
Anyway, into the midfield. Calvin Acosta, Tyler Adams, Luka Del Torre, Weston McKennie, Dejori Mihalovic, who's been balling, but he just got hurt. I don't know the extent of his injury, but
so maybe.
Dude, he scores like every game.
Montreal is
wild. Yunus Musa, Christian Roldan.
Roldan's hurt.
And then Malik Tillman.
Yeah, so I mean the usual faces, like good to see McKennie back. Hopefully, like kind of get him in form. Tyler Adams, like still, like obviously, like Berhalter loves him. He just straight up doesn't play for Leipzig. Like check the lineups every game. He doesn't play for Leipzig.
He usually gets in every game. Like he's available.
He's available, but like doesn't mean he plays.
He subs in most of the time.
I don't know. I'm more skeptical on him. I'm not gonna like trash him or anything, but like, is there a scenario where he doesn't start at the World Cup? Maybe.
No.
Bad run of form. Maybe he gets injured. I don't know. We need a backup Tyler Adams. I guess Calvin Acosta. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we have Acosta. Malik Tillman
just came back too. He came back the last game of the season. He was hurt.
Played in did he play in the Copa Italia final? Maybe not. So Malik Tillman from Bayern Munich.
Yeah, so he's actually played for the USU. I didn't know it's played for the USU 15s.
It's a good side.
Yeah. Back in 2016 and played for Germany youth teams up until last year.
That's crazy.
And it's 4 appearances for Bayern and 24 appearances for Bayern too.
Mm-hmm.
So they have him under as a midfielder, but I thought he was
to me, watching, like, I've never watched a full game. Watching his highlights, to me, he seems like a prime half space guy.
He can play. Can he play like all 4 of those positions up front?
Yeah, I don't know if he's a 9.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
So like he's like an advanced midfielder. I don't know. He seems like good athleticism, technical. So I'm excited to see him. I don't know much about him.
Knowing Berhalter, dude, he won't play him till like the
last
3rd game or something. Like everyone wants to see him play, and then he just won't play him.
What do we have up top?
Well, before that, Yunus Musa, I came to the conclusion that I think his best position is on the right. Like not
right midfielder,
not
right winger.
Yeah, right mid.
Okay.
Not as a center midfielder for the US.
Okay.
Because he's so much better on the right for Villarreal.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Valencia, I mean.
Place for, I was gonna say he wasn't in the Champions League. Why? What does he do? He's just better.
I think you need him like in space a little bit, like just drive forward with the ball, like maybe play Reina as in a midfield position.
I always thought Reina was better as a attacking midfielder. But like Musa, what was I gonna say? Oh, I've always said, like, so when you go back and watch our World Cup qualifying games, we look stagnant a lot of times. And it's because it's our 2 fullbacks on the wings, right? All the way in the wide channel. We have our center forward and our 2 wingers tucked in. So we have like 3 to 5 guys like pushing up the field. But the 3 center midfielders are like too far back. So it's just Yunus Musa dribbling forward that's how we get the ball up the field. It's just like Yunus Musa picks up the ball way too deep and he dribbles up the field, which isn't like a reliable way to move the ball up the field.
Okay.
So like if you could do that on the right, then it's like his version of like ball progression kind of thing.
Yeah.
So but
Just USMNT videos on YouTube posted like his season highlights, I think.
Mhm.
And like every time he's on the right.
Yeah, he's dribbling a lot, like he's moving.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
dribbling a lot. Yeah.
So like it's okay to like. That's why you have Tyler Adams who like won't dribble, kind of just passes it backwards. And you have like McKinney who just like hangs out like on the left or wherever he feels like going.
And
so it's like Musa trying to dribble and create something himself.
If Berhalter wants to do like whole positional play stuff, like doesn't really suit Timus Musa, right? Like
yeah, I got you. I don't think he's gonna. I think Berhalter's already stuck in his.
All right.
There's no hope of him playing right wing.
All right, well, that's
maybe World Cup 2026.
Forwards: Brendan Aaronson, Paul Arriola, who's scored in 5 straight MLS games.
Paul Arriola's on one, man.
Yeah, he's killing it. Jesus Ferreira who's scored a bunch too for this season MLS. Jordan Morris. We were wondering if we saw Jordan Morris on the roster.
Yeah.
The other day. So there he is. Pulisic, Tim Weah, and Haji Wright.
Yeah.
Dude, I felt like I grew up watching that guy. Like
he
on
was
YouTube and stuff.
He was the big name. I forget where he played, and then he went to the Cosmos, right? It was like such a weird move. Yeah, but I remember like when the US they would always post like their highlights from the U15s and U17 like camps. They used to play those like friendlies down in Florida. And like it was always Haji Wright like balling out. He played a lot with Pulisic growing up, I think. So
yeah,
there's some chemistry there too. That'd be cool.
Tim Weah, real quick. What is your opinion about him maybe even playing like the 9?
I don't like. I'm okay with it. I don't.
That best position is definitely on the wing, but if we want to get some of our best, like, it wouldn't even be a bad option to try him at the number 9. You know,
like, look, if there's anything, to me, it seems like what the U.S. tries with Berhalter is always similar to what Liverpool does. Like people call Berhalter like the American Pep, just obviously just to be funny. To me, we play a lot more like Liverpool without the high flying like transitions. So like Weah as like a Sadio Mane false 9 kind of thing would be cool. But like you want him running in behind and using his pace, and I don't think he gets to do that enough if he's playing forward.
Maybe in like a World Cup, maybe against like England, if we're like
down a goal, he plays the 9.
Having to defend more. Maybe he plays up there to counterattack.
Yeah, I don't see us trying to counterattack.
All right, I'm just.
Yeah, it's something to think about. It's just like we were talking about with Musa, how he hasn't really played as like a right wing for the US. Like Weah's never really played the 9, and Berhalter is very much like you're this position. Like I feel like he doesn't. Well, like Pulisic never plays through the middle of the field.
He did play Eric Palmer Brown at right wing back.
Oh, is that against Mexico at Azteca?
Yeah, I think it was.
Because someone got a yellow or a red.
No, not a red. It was
a yellow that made him miss
someone might have just got hurt. He subbed on at right wing back. He didn't have like anyone else to play at right wing back.
But it's just to see out the game, like see how the
I was listening to a podcast with Eric Palmer Brown and Berhalter asked him like that day.
Like, hey, can you play right wing back?
If we need you, can you play right wing back?
What is he gonna say? No.
Eric Palmer Brown said the only option he had was to say yeah.
Like that's why I don't get like I'm a coach. Like if I went up to players like, hey, can you play this position? Like the player's not gonna say no.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's like, all right, dude, why are you telling me no? Like believe in yourself, man. Like
yeah. It's kind of fun.
That's what I like about like player interviews, like low key player interviews. Like if they opened up and like made fun of themselves for that kind of stuff, it'd be way more funny.
Yeah.
Anything else with the US, or we'll just kind of wait and see? We'll do like a recap, I guess. We'll probably rope in the June window recap with like something else we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, man.
We've been going for a while.
You got anything else?
No, I mean like I always say, like any suggestions on like what like topics you guys want to cover. Like I think the podcast with Dimitri was a good one because we were all like USMNT up until that point, and they were all like kind of like current news, like right after the game, like reaction podcast, which I think were kind of cool. The like after each game reaction podcast.
Has that guy posted his rankings for podcasts?
No, but that guy is a total whack job most of the time.
Jeez,
he is like ridiculously anti. Like he like his whole account is like hating Tyler Adams and like just posting weird things. He hates Greg Berhalter. He like hates MLS but loves Paul Arriola. Like I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
Like we all love Paul
Can't
Arriola.
get a
It's
good
not
read on this guy.
yeah. So I don't know. Just leave us a review and let the loyal listeners speak for themselves. Shout out to Alex Roos for winning our Fantasy Premier League. And I don't know, we got like 20 some guys to play. It was pretty cool. I stopped checking, but
yeah, I somehow finished 9th. I've stopped checking after probably week 10.
typical Everton. Finished 9th.
Dude, I was way off on the on my table prediction.
Yeah, because you had some bad predictions, dude.
I had Norwich finishing 15th, I think.
Norwich like one of the worst teams I've seen.
14th or 15th.
You had Brighton finishing like 17th or something, close to relegation. Like Brighton's good. I don't know which you're paying attention to.
My bad. Well, now I know Brighton's good, so next year it'll be a little different.
Well, they might not be as good when they sell Bissouma, Cucurella
for 100 million.
I was trying to tell Chad that Cucurella, the left back for Brighton, is worth 100 million, and he tried to laugh at me. But go find a valuable left back and see how much it costs.
And then the very next day, like not even like a week later, like the very next day, he's linked to like Man City for like
30 million.
30.
That's because City's just using their bargaining power to like knock the price down. If Cucurella had the same age as Gaga Salina, he'd be going for 100 million.
He'd be linked to Real Madrid.
All right, we're running out of time. My laptop's losing memory. All right, anything else?
No.
I'm good. All right, cool.
All right.
It's episode 37. Peace.